Good evening, everybody. Good evening. We are so happy to see all of you. So grateful for your presence, distinguished guests, honorees, friends, colleagues, everyone here tonight. Welcome to the University of Massachusetts, Boston, Boston's premier public research university, located on an unbelievable setting on this beautiful peninsula. If you're here for the first time, raise your hand. It's okay, you can turn yourself in. Because I know, like me, I spent a lot of time in the center of this city, out on a place where there was the only water you found was in the tap, okay? I came out here for a visit and I lost my mind. I never went back home. And some of you know who knew me when, that home for me meant a lot at the time. And I came here and I fell in love with a place, not just because of the setting, because within that beautiful setting were some beautiful values, were some beautiful people, were some unbelievable students, but more importantly, an unbelievable opportunity for us to learn and develop. You're all a part of that tonight. You being that special person or persons in our lives, we're so grateful to have you. We're so grateful to have you on this campus in anticipation for what's going to be unbelievable tomorrow. I hope you're ready. Now, when I was growing up, you didn't have to wear a seatbelt. You can go in the car and all those things. We didn't know any better. Tomorrow, buckle your seatbelt because it's going to blow your mind. You're going to see 3,627 or something like that. 37, I'm sorry, I took 10 off. I was just seeing if you all were watching. They hate this. They hate the fact that they've been up working all night on scripts and I never use them. Okay, so they're like, he's giving the wrong numbers. He's going to ratchet some numbers up and he's going to ratchet some numbers down. When it comes to how much money we need, we're going to put that way up. How much money we don't have, Mr. Chair, we're going to say, we're going to ratchet that.
Whatever Keith wants.
Way up. But as you can see, we're so delighted to have all of you here for this special celebration. So we've been doing this, at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, we start celebrating commencement like April 15th. The students start having an event every night. All of a sudden, there's a convocation every night. I did like 3 convocations today already. A hearing before the State House Budget Committee, right, President Wilson? Yep. And all kinds of other things. So we're delighted to have you here so we can just begin to get ready for tomorrow. We have a wonderful action-packed program planned for you. It's going to be very exciting. I've been reminded to encourage you to please enjoy your salads while I'm talking. Because here's the deal. Let me let you in on a secret. I'm way above my playing weight, and it's not because the food's not good around here. You're getting ready to be in for something really special. Eat that salad because an unbelievable entree is going to be coming up shortly. Let me start the night out the way it should be started out by acknowledging my lovely wife, Angela. As I always say, she gets more and more beautiful every day, but events are more and more special every time she shows up. And so I'm so grateful for that. But sitting in the back of the room somewhere, soaking up the university atmosphere, my 2 beautiful daughters, where are they? Oh, they're at a table. Now you know you made it. Now you made it at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, when they bring you out the back room and they give you a seat at the table for a dinner. They've made it. They're 11 and 15 now, as beautiful as ever. And so my son and I, we have to make sure we're watching them and that kind of thing. But we're also so proud that I'm so grateful to have visiting with us from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, my mother, Mrs. Cornelia Williams, and my sister, Kimberly Motley Phillips. Both of them make this an unbelievable special time for all of us here, me in particular, because everyone here, I don't deny it, I'm a mama's boy. And Ellen O'Connor and everyone, they tease me about that. But guess what? They all threaten to call you when I'm on their case. I'm gonna call your mother. Well, she's here tonight. Okay. But anyway, you make it special by joining us here tonight, so thank you for being here. Next, I want to acknowledge the members of the University of Massachusetts Board of Trustees who are here. I want you to please stand so we might welcome you. Chairman Jim Karam, you're going to hear from him. Looking very dapper in his summer suit tonight, spring suit. Hey, did Michael Reed make it? Trustee Michael Reed? Now, he's on the verge of trying to set a record. He wants to be the first student trustee to make every commencement, even one after he graduated from the University of Massachusetts Lowell last week. But that's okay, because I have mine here today, our University of Massachusetts Boston trustee, Stasha Lampert. Stasha. But I'm also always happy to welcome back to this university the president of our University of Massachusetts system, Dr. Jack Wilson. I also want to recognize, give him a round of applause, Did State Representative Carlos Enriquez make it here yet? I haven't seen him. Okay. Well, we have a chair for him. Save a chair by the door for him. We'll be all right. But I'm going to ask President Wilson, as you go into that cell a little deeper, come on up here and say a few words to the crowd. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor Motley. Thank you very much. Wow. He sets a pretty high standard for energy, huh? Mrs. Williams, what must have been like to have him as your son growing up? I mean, our respect for you knows no bounds. I've had the wonderful opportunity to get to know Keith's family. They are absolutely unbelievable family, and it's just wonderful to have all of you here, all the way from Pittsburgh, which happens to be my hometown, and Larry Lucchino's hometown. We all went to different high schools, and we all were kind of rivals, and now we're all adopted Bostonians, as a matter of fact, and fit right in. It's a great night for the University of Massachusetts, Boston, as we celebrate achievements of our esteemed graduates and award recipients. And I want to welcome Chair Karam, university trustees, alumni leaders, senior administrators, members of the faculty, distinguished guests, but most particularly tonight's honorees. But I want to also acknowledge the student award winners and thank the legislators and community leaders who have joined us. And tomorrow, we're honored to hear the commencement address of AASC&U President Muriel, one of my heroes for a long time. It's great to have you here with us. A tireless advocate for public higher education at the national level, who will also receive the Chancellor's Medal for her long-standing commitment to educational leadership, diversity, and public service. And I'm delighted to welcome Jim Calhoun, head coach of the University of Connecticut NCAA championship winning basketball team and recipient of the Chancellor's Medal. It's great to have you here as well. And again, just as I kind of suggested with Mrs. Williams about, boy, what a challenge it must have been trying to raise Keith, huh? All that energy and everything. You had to coach him, and then you had to have him as an assistant coach. It's a deep respect from all of us for that. But you did a good job with him, and thank you, all of you, for the good job that you did with him. What a lineup we have as our honorary degree recipients. Larry Lucchino, President and CEO of the beloved Red Sox. Charles Rose, Senior Vice President and Dean of City Year. Francis West, yes, absolutely. Amazing program, amazing program. Francis West, Director of IBM's Human Ability and Accessibility Center. Unbelievable. So I want to say congratulations to all of our distinguished honorees, but I always like to kind of just take a little segue here to remind everybody of why you are honorees. Yes, it's because what you've accomplished, but it's even more than that. It's even more important than that. We select our honorees because we want our students to follow in your footsteps. That's why you're honorees. It is to honor the accomplishments you have, but it's more than that. It's so that we can show our students, people that have gone on to achieve greatness in life in very diverse ways, different ways, but to say, someday, students, we want you to follow in these great people's footsteps. So, thank you so much, because you honor us by being the honorees here. And it's not just us honoring you, but it's you honoring us, and we appreciate that. I got to say a sincere thank you to Keith Motley for the great job that he does on this campus. This really, let's give him a hand here. He's, whoa. It's been wonderful to have him as a personal friend, to have become kind of a part of his family as well, and it's great. They've been a support for me through some tough times recently, and I appreciate that. So on this personal level, to Keith and the family, the entire family, thank you for your friendship and your support and the great leadership you provide. We've all been fortunate to see Keith's energy, his enthusiasm, his passion for this vibrant campus, the countless way in which he inspires and guides our students, our staff, faculty, and alumni. It's such a pleasure walking around on the campus with him, because everybody stops Keith when he goes by. The students stop Keith, the athletes stop Keith, the custodian stops Keith, and he takes time for every one of them. So, if a Pirates fan from Pittsburgh can get this far in life, ooh, that was cruel. Think, we can all imagine how far the Red Sox fans of UMass Boston will go. So we can ask Dr. Lucchino about that tomorrow. Please enjoy the evening, and thank you for all that you do for the University of Massachusetts. I'm looking forward to spending the next 2 days with you, each of you. Thank you, Keith.
President Wilson, ladies and gentlemen. So, Chair Karam, come on up, man. Listen, I'm very honored to introduce this next guy. Now, yeah, one of the things I love about the chairman is he constantly tells me that we're his second most loved campus. Because, he's a graduate of the Dartmouth campus, and so, of course, he has to have allegiance to that. But every time I need him, every time I need a contribution, every time I need a discussion about a solution, every time I need support, he sort of just gives us that support and lets me know, you're my second best campus, and I really love you a whole lot. Just don't tell Gene McCormick, the Chancellor, that that's the way. But we're grateful for your presence at all the opportunities we have to be with you. So thank you for tonight, and come on and share a few words with the group tonight. Thank you.
Obviously, I use that facetiously when I say my second favorite campus, but I mean sincerely, you're ahead of Marty Meehan, and I want Marty to know that. And I want Marty to get that message, because last week I attended the Lowell commencement where a former chair said that Lowell was the jewel in the crown and Marty was his favorite chancellor. So that got back to Keith, and he certainly wasn't too happy about that. So we'll make sure that my comment gets back to Marty. Someone once warned me, when you start your remarks, don't start with a joke, because you've only got a 50-50 chance of succeeding, even if you're good. So I try not to do that. But I do want to start with a little light story that pertains to one of our honorees tonight. I grew up in Fall River, Mass, and I've lived in a little town called Tiverton, Rhode Island for the last 35 years. And next door to Tiverton is a small town called Westport, Mass. Many of you have probably heard of it. It's a little farming and waterfront community. And I had a brother who was a great basketball coach, and he started at Westport, Mass, and he coached there for 2 years and had a horrible record. Luckily, somebody saw something in his talent, and they hired him to coach the then high school powerhouse, Durfee High School, where my brother Skip went on to coach for 35 years and was the winningest coach in New England high school history, and was inducted into the New England Basketball Hall of Fame. Well, he was followed by a coach who coached at Westport High School, and I won't tell you what his record was, but it was horrible. But someone saw something in him, and he became an incredible coach and probably became one of the greatest coaches in the history of college basketball. And that was the same Jim Calhoun that we're gonna honor tomorrow morning. So Jim, the reason I tell that story is we like to tell our students from humble beginnings some great things happen. And another famous coach, Rick Pitino, used to say the kids from UMass come in with PhDs. They're poor, hungry, and driven. You know, they don't go out with PhDs. So it's a little bit about the story. But thank you, Chancellor. And your wife looks incredibly beautiful, as usual. She is just the epitome of what a beautiful chancellor's wife looks like. My wife loves to come to this campus because all the other chancellors think they're smart and they talk about the trustees. Keith talks about the wives, and all the wives want to come back to this campus. So Angie, as usual, you look incredible. Thank you.
Flipping the script on me, huh?
And thank you, President Wilson, for everything you've done. As chair of the board, I'm honored to represent our trustees as part of this year's commencement exercise and celebration, highlighting the great achievements of UMass Boston graduates in the class of 2011. I would like to extend special thanks to our president, who, as many of you know, is stepping down this year and going to take on other duties, for his strong leadership and his vision, and the valued support he has extended to all members of the university's board over the past 8 years, and of course, the 5 campuses across the Commonwealth. Jack, we wish you all the best as you move forward into your new role as a University of Massachusetts Distinguished Professor, and your interim duties here at UMass Boston, helping to lead the $125 million Edward M. Kennedy Institute for the United States Senate. It should be incredibly exciting. And someday we'll write a book on how Keith landed that on this campus. I think you charmed Vicki Kennedy like you charm all the ladies. But tonight we gather to celebrate our distinguished honorees. And this year's Chancellor's Medal recipient, Coach Jim Calhoun, our honorary degree recipients, Larry Lucchino, Charles Rose, and Francis Wang West, and our student award winners as well. Also, we are honored to be joined by AASCU President Muriel Howard, who will address our graduates tomorrow at tomorrow's commencement. Thank you, Muriel. My warmest congratulations to all those being honored tonight. I bring good wishes and our gratitude from our Board of Trustees. As Jack has so aptly pointed out, you honor us by allowing us to showcase your lives to our students so they aspire to have similar success in their careers. I also want to thank Chancellor Motley for his outstanding leadership on this thriving campus. From his strong commitment to advancing the urban mission through local and global initiatives, through his stewardship of the campus redevelopment under the university's 25-year master plan, including the new integrated science building that you see as you drive in. It is clear that Keith is at the forefront of UMass successes and progress. And Coach Calhoun, I know you wish he had the same moves in college when you coached them. Well, you filled a lot of space, but you didn't, you know.
Listen, that's love.
Tomorrow, we look forward to celebrating the academic achievements of our exceptional graduates who embody a wide range of backgrounds, experience, and talents. They will go on to do exciting things and will continue to make us proud as they make a difference, shaping our communities and our Commonwealth in a significant way. And thanks to the tireless efforts of many of you in this room who move the university forward every day, our administrators, our distinguished faculty, the entire UMass Boston team, thank you for making this campus, and I mean this in all seriousness, such a special, special place for our students. And thank you to all of you from around the state who support this campus and are here tonight with us to enjoy and celebrate the events. Enjoy the evening. Thank you.
So thank you, Chair Karam. Really appreciate that. Listen, we're going to continue this process of bringing the meal out, aren't we, Diane? while I'm talking? We're going to clear and all that? So don't worry, you're not going to get caught up in the fact that I have a lot that I need to share with you. Okay? Don't worry about that. So, also, I want to make sure that you know that Michael Reed did make it here tonight. Michael, stand up. Michael Reed from the University of Massachusetts Lowell, student trustee. Also graduated last Saturday. Congratulations, give him a round of applause. So you made it. That's good, I'm glad you're here. I was talking about you a little earlier. But listen, Stasha, come up here. So, this is kind of impromptu. We talk a little bit about our students all the time, and so just a few words from our student trustee. Before I do that, the acronym for the way you pronounce the acronym for the group that Dr. Howard is associated with is Ascu. And so it's the American Association of State Universities and Colleges, and it's Ascu. And so as we go forward, when we go forward from now through the weekend, we want to talk about our organization in that way. Is that okay? Okay. I'll clean that up right away. Okay. I know, I got you. I was feeling the vibe. Okay.
Thank you, Chancellor Motley, for giving me the chance to address this audience of people who are leaders in our communities and on our campus. I'm very pleased to be able to host you here at UMass Boston, the home of the Beacons, the only public research university in Boston. It's a great period for UMass Boston. I got that from Keith Motley. As has been stated, this is a great period for UMass. This is the portion of the year where we get to celebrate our soon-to-be graduates, alumni, and distinguished members of the community upon who we will confer our honor. And it's also an honor and an inspiration and a motivation for us to be in the room with the people that we're giving degrees to and medals and honorary degrees. Tonight, actually, we celebrate tomorrow's ceremonies, otherwise known as commencement. For this period is not merely the extension of accolades for past successes, but it's also the commencement of a future in which we will continue our successes and continue doing the great work that we set the precedent for in the past. This is true for both the individuals speaking in this room as well as this university. As has been mentioned, we recently had the groundbreaking for the Edward M. Kennedy Institute, and next week we're primed to have another groundbreaking for the Integrated Sciences Complex. And these are just a few of the many plans that we are expecting to set into motion for the coming years for UMass Boston. For folks in the room who have made such strides possible and who have made the successes of the individuals in this room possible, including my own, and whose accomplishments continue a legacy of leadership deriving from this university, I congratulate and thank you all. So enjoy your dinner.
Give me back the microphone. That'll teach me to try to do some impromptu stuff with you. We're out practicing today for commencement, and my book is flying around. I can't figure out the pages. She pulls out her iPhone and just starts reading her script off her iPhone. First problem was I couldn't see it if I put it on that. The second problem was I wouldn't be able to flip the screen or whatever. So I'm just so grateful. Thank you for that. Our students that are here, our student leaders that are here, stand up so we can see you. You know, I've heard all these things about Keith this and that. This university would not function effectively without an unbelievable group of individuals who were dedicated to public higher education long before I even dreamed of being that way. See, I came over from a private institution and I was reformed immediately. because I met colleagues that just would not go away. Everywhere I looked, they were looking inside of me, inside of my soul, to search, to see that we were doing the things we said we were going to do. They were looking for consistency. They were looking for values that connected. They were looking for a connection to the mission of this institution. It was infectious, and these years later, I'm so honored to be chancellor here at this university. So my colleagues that are our provosts, our deans, our staff, everyone, stand up so folk can see that you're here. I can give you a round of applause. And these are just the folk that we could let in the room tonight. Because tomorrow about 10,000 people are going to be out there, and you're probably going to have 1,000 people volunteering at some level on this campus for this work. It's amazing. So as we gather tonight on the eve of one of the most anticipated days on our university calendar, we applaud our graduates' achievements and we celebrate our mission. We also recall the values that have sustained us since our founding, our commitment to excellent research, faculty, and instruction, affordable access to a quality education, not just access for access to a high quality education, and public service. It gives me great pleasure to acknowledge the achievements of members of the university community who will receive special awards at our commencement ceremonies tomorrow. Now, at each commencement, you know that the John F. Kennedy Library is located, that presidential library is located here on our campus. Now, they might think that we're located on their campus, but a lot has changed in the last few years. They're located on our campus. And so we give out the John F. Kennedy Award for Academic Excellence, and it's presented to an outstanding graduating senior selected from nominations from the colleges and other academic units and interviewed by a campus-wide committee. Not the chancellor, a campus-wide committee. I would now like to recognize this year's winner from the College of Nursing and Health Sciences, nursing student Alia McPherson. So, is David here? David, stand up so we can see you too. You're escorting her tonight, right? All right, okay. We got a, hey. Each year, we also present awards to members of our University of Massachusetts Boston faculty for excellence in teaching, service, and in scholarship. I would now like to recognize this year's recipients, and we're going to do a major recognition tomorrow. Please stand as your names are read. The recipient of the Chancellor's Award for Distinguished Teaching is Professor Vivian Zamo. Stand up. She's out of the department, also ran by somebody from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The English department in the College of Liberal Arts. She also serves as director of both the ESL program and of the Center for the Improvement of Teaching. You know, there's a thing about this university. I didn't think we could get any better at teaching. Because our legacy in teaching is unbelievable. You know, we're a research university, but we have this teaching soul about us. And so, but Vivian helps make sure that we bring folk in here and we make sure that they can teach. The winning of the Chancellor's Award for Distinguished Service is Professor Mannequin Sukumaran, better known as Now, I had to look and see who that was because we call him Sugu. I said, who? They told me, you're going to be excited when you know the winners. Professor Sukumaran won. I said, Who? They said Sugu. I said, oh, Sukumaran, okay. I understand that. Listen, we tease him because he's a jewel. He is from our Department of Biology in the College of Science and Mathematics, and I'm gonna be all over his case tomorrow on the stage, so I'll let you know at that point who he is. We're gonna get into those details then. Have a seat, young man. Finally, I want to recognize the recipient of the Chancellor's Award for Distinguished Scholarship. She's unable to be here tonight because her daughter's graduating. But please join me in a round of applause for Professor Alice Carter of the Department of Psychology. Also in our College of Liberal Arts, and she will be here tomorrow. Congratulations to everyone. Now, after dinner, I'm gonna let you all eat now, okay? After dinner, we're gonna pay tribute to our honorary degree recipients and our Chancellor and medal recipients, except for you, Dr. Howard, because we're gonna give you the stage tomorrow. We're gonna talk about you tonight, but we're gonna ask them to say a few words tonight. And we're gonna save you so you can just turn this thing out tomorrow, okay? All right, so now, I want you to enjoy your meal. But before you do that, let's give all the folk that are back there getting ready to bring it out a resounding round of applause. All of the staff that have been working so diligently, I hope the folk at the table know, I hope you grab your meals, okay, out there, everyone who's working, I hope that you have a chance to eat. Marcy, stand up. Marcy, Senior Vice President from our university system, Marcelette Williams. Someone who has been an unbelievable colleague for me for my entire time here at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, and at the Massachusetts system. Someone who I crashed one of her major events with about 200 boys when she was chancellor at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, and she didn't throw us out. It was commencement day, an event just like this, very formal. And we were coming up because someone was receiving an honorary degree, and I took a busloads of kids up there, and we crashed her event. And that's how we met. I was the guy who crashed her event, and she still loves me. All these years later, as I do her. But that's the kind of colleague she is, and I'm so grateful you're here tonight. Let's give her a round of applause. So, I'm bringing out this delicious meal. You're gonna eat, and during dessert, we're gonna have dessert. I'm gonna bring up all the honorary folk, and we're gonna talk then. So thank you. See you in a minute. So, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're moving you through the evening so we can get you back here on time tomorrow morning. I've been told to tell you, there's a breakfast that starts at 8 o'clock. But if you come at 5 minutes to 9, at 9 o'clock, you're walking down to be robed. Because at 10 o'clock, my foot is hitting the stage. Is that right? Right, so we're gonna move through this evening so we can get to that 8 o'clock time tomorrow. So, we're here this evening to pay tribute to our honorary degree and Chancellor medals recipients. Each of these outstanding individuals displays values reflective of those held by our university. We're proud to recognize them for their achievements. They, in turn, bring honor to our university through their participation in our 43rd commencement exercises. We're pleased that these honorees are here this evening to share their reflections with us. And unfortunately, 2 of them couldn't be here tonight. However, they'll be with us tomorrow. Red Sox President Larry Lucchino is unavailable to join us tonight. I know he was out of state and was flying on an airplane, and I know a lot of things are happening today. And so he asked that I extend his regrets and let you know how proud he is to receive this recognition in the company of such distinguished individuals. He looks forward to his participation in tomorrow's activities and will be here early enough to get to know you, etc. tomorrow. It's now my pleasure, though, to introduce a man that is here tonight. Someone who for nearly 4 decades in college athletics is best summarized as someone who has become very legendary. Now, when I first met him, he was looking for the L in legendary. But you could have never told him that. What I loved about him was he always had that confidence of a legendary individual. And he sort of instilled that in his players. And we weren't just players, we were people who became part of a family. Having led his UConn Huskies this year to this year's NCAA championship title, his 3rd national title, he is known as perhaps the greatest program builder, greatest organizational strategist in college basketball history. That's just one of his achievements. I'm going to be getting into why we gave him the Chancellor's Medal tomorrow. So I'm going to get all the sports stuff out the way because that'll mean tomorrow I can get a little more academic for you, okay? This is just the latest achievement in his storied professional life, which includes numerous records at the University of Connecticut, but also at Northeastern University, and has produced many top-flight collegiate stars and future NBA professionals. More importantly, he's produced people that have gone on to do other tremendous things in life. Off the court, he and his wonderful wife, who has become, is just a special place in all of our lives, Pat. I can't call her Pat. Who's with us this evening, are well known in Connecticut for their passion and drive they bring to many charitable causes. While he has secured this place in sports history as one of the greats, I know that his incredible game day stats measure only part of his tremendous impact. His most profound contributions can be seen in the generations of young men whom he has inspired to realize their fullest potential. As a former player and as a former person who has coached and worked with him as a colleague at Northeastern, I'm especially grateful to him for his decades of support and remarkable friendship. He took a young man who was turning 17 out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, brought him to a town called Boston, and I told him I would never leave here. And all these years later, I'm standing here. But more importantly, when I went to him, he wanted me to be a college basketball coach. And I told him that I wanted to be a college president. And he didn't laugh at me, as my teammates did. And when they come to my office now looking for a job, I remind them of that. He asked me how could he help. The first thing he did was he found me a job at a university. Then I had 2 jobs at a university. So much so that people thought that my brother was the basketball coach and I was the dean. And so I always appreciated the fact that he had that confidence in all of us. And so please join me in welcoming to the podium head coach of the University of Connecticut basketball team, my mentor and friend, Jim Calhoun.
Thank you very much. It's an honor for me to be here for a number of reasons. First thing, I'm a local. Pat was raised in Cambridge and then Weymouth, and we started out in Dorchester and South Boston and got to Braintree somehow or other. We thought it was the suburbs, by the way, at the time. And now I go by it as an MBTA stop. My brother Bill is a great representative of the state system. I went to a private school. Billy went to Lowell Tech and graduated. And secondly, he then went to UMass Medical School, is now a cardiologist at South Shore Hospital. Political and paid political announcement would be that simply South Shore Cardiology. If get a little chest pain or something, Bill, he'd be available for you. I got to tell you one funny story about Bill, and it's true. He said on the sidelines, you know, and I've coached 1,300 games in college basketball, and I, you know, I've been fortunate enough to win almost 900 of those games, and I don't remember how many I lost because I just forget about those bad things in life. But more importantly, Bill wanted to sit near a game to see what it's like, and right after the game, he said to me, "How'd you do that?" And like you run up and down and saying a few things as I would, Dean Motley, President Motley, Keith Motley, more importantly, one of the young men, and you'll always be a young man to me, that I'm as proud of as anybody, including my own sons and my brother, and you are special in my life, and always will be. And quite honestly, so Bill asked me after the game, it was Madison Square Garden, some people were yelling things at us. By the way, they don't know what the word garden means. They think it should have an R. I can't, I'm still trying to educate the people of Connecticut that it's a car, you park, it's a horse, and they still don't, my lovely daughter-in-law Amy understands. Bernie and Beth are not so sure, and certainly Sheila knows. And Pat from Cambridge really knows. But most importantly, Billy says, well, how'd you do that? I mean, people are yelling names, sit down, and they just didn't say sit down. You can imagine what that New York crowd would be like playing St. John's. And Billy said, how'd you do that? And here I'm thinking, let me get this straight. You're doing a catheterization on a human being, and you're asking me how I did that. And I was always amazed, but he thought that was like a big deal. Because if I lose, I lose. If he loses, you lose. So that's a little more high-risk type of situation. But really, to come here to Columbia Point looking for Dwan Chandler, to know what UMass Boston was like, a couple buildings and an afterthought in many, many ways, and to see this incredible building. And there's been so many other people, I'm sure, who went before Keith who helped make this possible. But the pride I have, very simply, I've always considered myself, and will always continue to do that as long as I'm on the face of this earth, to be a teacher. I started out teaching. I was in Old Lyme High School. I was, as previously mentioned, at Westport High School, and our record was, and then I went on to Dedham High School, and we had some success, and at 28 years old, I was the head coach at Northeastern. Thinking at that time I had all the answers. 39 years later, I got a hell of a lot of questions, I can tell you right now, and I think that happens to all of us. But most importantly, as I said, being someone who's watched this university grow, being such good friends with Charlie and a lot of people in this room, and just knowing you, it's comfort to be here. Comfort to know the fact that the values that this city desperately so needs exists on this peninsula. It's phenomenal. You know, I have a saying that I give every one of my players, from Ray Allen to Ben Gordon to all you know, we've had 32 kids play in the NBA, but more importantly, they're people of character, and that's what we really want. I have a saying all the time I give to them, and this guy, this young man, always to me, who's so special in my life, he, John Clark, and a whole group of people. I always say, you know, and I want you all to hear this just for a moment, because when you get up in the day, I know you're excited about your day. You can see somewhat, hopefully, where Keith got some of his excitement from, because I've only been doing this for 39 years. But you can't believe how excited I am to be here. But I always say to my kids, you know, whatever you think you are, you're probably right. Whatever you think you are, you're probably right. And when Keith told me what he wanted to be, or Perry told me what he wanted to be, and our kids told us what they wanted to be, well, if you think you're going to be special, as Keith did, he was right, because he thought he could be special. And the ups and downs, and we talked so many different times about moves, lateral moves, up and down, he always believes that he could do special things. And each and every one of you at this institution are doing very special things. You see, the money being spent, and I have to go on my little bit of political twist, but the money being spent in incarceration in this state is absolutely incredible. How about we start at the real problems and do something about that? Put all of our resources, our money, our energy into making citizens people of character, people of understanding. And that's where we all should be heading. So as I received the Chancellor's medal it certainly is going to be very gratifying. Receiving it from Keith is a dream beyond belief. And lastly, for what you do on an everyday basis, I applaud each and every one of you. To make a difference in lives is a phenomenal, phenomenal thing. And you folks have the great ability and enthusiasm to do it every day. So I do come here very humble and very honored by this. But more importantly, I come humbled because I'm in the presence of people who care enough to help young people. My dad had the best saying, which I'll leave you with, and you might have heard it a long, old time ago. A person, man or woman, never stands so tall as when they stoop to help a child. And each and every one of you, in your own way, intellectually, psychologically, are going down to a different level to try to bring someone to surpass you someday. And for that, I applaud you. To Keith, I thank you. And for UMass Boston, I'm just honored to be here. Thank you very, very much.
So a teacher, huh? Mm-hmm. And someone had the nerve to put in, they wanted me to say, thank you, Jim. I have never called him Jim, and who wrote that? Even in this advanced age, I have never called him Jim in my life. That would be like calling my mama, I don't even know. Does she have a first name? Hey, does she have a first name? I'm trying to figure that out. Oh my God. Listen, thank you, Coach. I appreciate that. It's now my pleasure to introduce a man who has dedicated his considerable professional talents to empowering idealistic young adults to be catalysts for social change. A longtime youth worker and organizer in Boston, he knows firsthand the challenges that face our city's children and the support they need to build a foundation for successful lives. At City Year, he has overseen initiatives which have provided scores of young adults with the skills and the opportunities to foster positive youth development, and has promoted the organization as a national and a global model. In these achievements, he has contributed richly to our city's quality of life and is an icon of engaged citizen leadership. Now, I have never walked around Boston and got so many questions about anybody who was up for anything at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, as I did when the word was out that Charlie Rose was being considered for an honorary degree. Everywhere I went, Charlie Rose, Charlie Rose, Charlie Rose, Charlie Rose. I finally gave up. The board, I said, Chair Karam, could you call a special meeting? Could we just take a vote? But I understood why. I've known this young man for a long time. His work, his passion extends beyond, didn't just start when City Year popped up. It's amazing how people think that our lives start when we show up someplace. It's a long time ago, this gentleman who stood before you a few minutes ago exhibited the same championship mentality that he does now all those years ago. And Charlie's the same way. So please join me in welcoming to the podium the Senior Vice President and Dean of City Year, Charlie Rose. You got it.
Thank you. Chancellor Motley, I see why President Wilson say when you walk around the campus, The maintenance workers, the students, the teachers, the professors want to get close to you, want to talk to you. Anybody who's in his presence, you feel better about the world. You feel like you can do anything. You feel like things are going to get better if you just think about it and work on it. Keith Motley is an international treasure. We just happen to have him right here in Boston. So I thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I am deeply honored and humbled by this occasion. And when you honor me, you honor my wife and life partner, Carol Downs, and our family. Yesterday was our 20th wedding anniversary, so this is a big... This is a big week for me. And when you honor my work, you honor all whom I work with. I've been blessed to work amongst the finest, most decent people on the planet, many of whom are here tonight. And when you include me with Coach Jim Calhoun, Dr. Muriel Leonard, Francis West, and Larry Lucchino, such remarkable company, you elevate the movement that I am part of. You see, I never got to finish college. My father was diagnosed with a cancerous brain tumor when I was a freshman, during my freshman year, and I left formal education and academia and was never able to go back. So, Coach, I have 3 years of eligibility. And if you need a 53-year-old point guard, I know Kemba jumps, so. The truth is I ended up losing both of my parents to cancer at too young an age, but they're here tonight. They're watching from the upper balcony. No doubt as proud of me as anyone possibly could be. An honorary doctorate. Hello. I grew up on a small island, idolizing a doctor from UMass. I've always wanted to be a doctor. I grew up on the Lower East Side of Manhattan as a boy, idolizing Dr. J, Julius Erving. A UMass graduate. He left before he finished his education, came back, finished his degree, and got an honorary doctorate. And to be recognized by UMass Boston means the world to me. You see, when I fill out a tax form or a census report or anything like that and they ask occupation, I always put the same thing, youth worker. And there's very few institutions on this planet that actually recognize that, the way Coach Calhoun just did, the way Keith Motley just did. But UMass Boston was the first university in the country to offer youth worker certification. It's been a leader in that field for decades. Many people are coming around to it now, but UMass Boston was always on the forefront of that. Being someone who's dedicated his life to urban America, growing, living my whole adult life here in Boston, but working all over the country, and building community, facing challenges, this honor from this institution is tremendously meaningful to me, and I really can't overstate that. In deciding what to convey in 5 minutes, I decided to share with you my leadership mission statement. At City Year, we ask all the young people, all the staff, and all the core members to do an exercise that connects them with their purpose. We believe that to be a powerful leader, you have to be connected to your sense of purpose. So I'll give you mine. And then I'll close with a quick poem, because I do a lot of spoken word. Before I do that, I want to say this. It's going to be a beautiful day tomorrow. I can tell by looking out the window. It's a spectacular place. I do want to say one thing, though. Yesterday, we had tragedy in this state. We had 4 people lose their lives. Many other people lose their homes, lose all their community. And so let's do 10 seconds of my 5 minutes. And by the way, Larry Lucchino and Francis West gave me their time. No, not true. I won't even take it. But let's do 10 seconds and think about our brothers and sisters in the western part of the state and anybody who'd been hit by a tornado. Thank you. I also want to thank my brother at that table who's doing American Sign Language. Here's my leadership mission statement. As a leader, my mission is to powerfully spread love as far and wide as possible in the service of social justice. I want to inspire, mentor, support, lead, and learn from as many people as possible in a similar endeavor in their chosen field. I will be part of helping people find their voice, bending history, and making our world a better place. I'll be happy when our schools look as good as our malls, when youth workers are as valued as hedge fund managers, and when we realize that water is more important than oil, and when all children and families have all the resources they need and everyone feels safe. So I take this extreme honor as fuel for my work, as enhanced responsibility. I believe what President Wilson said about being a role model, and I take that very seriously, and so this honor will fuel that for me. I believe that the meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you never expect to sit. And I think that happens here all the time on this campus. So I'm going to close with a spoken word, hip-hop, rap, whatever you want to call it, for a 50-something-year-old ex-basketball player. I remember Mark Hassel, Perry Moss, I could go, John Williams, I could go way back on all those guys, yeah. To me, Hassel was the toughest of all of them.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh kid. A lot of Pittsburgh connection here. You did a great job. You did a great job. Amazing. Here, let's close with this. It's called Scholars and Doctors. And it's sort of like, this doesn't really rise to the occasion because my stuff is like Dr. Seuss. My other doctor that I was really... It goes like this. Scholars and doctors, we're living the dream, seeking the vision and building the team. Our job is to listen to themes to understand what they mean. Scholars and doctors, Dr. Howard, Coach Calhoun, if you please, President Wilson, Chancellor Motley, and the Board of Trustees. Thank you for charting the waters and sailing the seas, guiding the next generation as they rise in the breeze. You all know the keys, and you are planting those trees. The next generation will cause a sensation, lead to our salvation. The next generation has many temptations. It's now in formation. We're part of the creation. This is a conversation about destination. Understand the relation of the next generation and their revelations. Deal with the frustration and share the elation. This is the foundation of our very nation. UMass nation, Red Sox nation, education nation, Husky nation. Let it not get lost in translation. Scholars and doctors, who gets help? The greedy or the needy? Who will we feed? Who's left to bleed? Why must we plead? When will we heed the need for deeds and those to lead who can read the difference between greed and need? It's almost over. Can we tell time? No child left behind? More like no child left a dime. Dropping rhymes, ringing chimes, no child left a dime. There's so many hills to climb. These issues are yours and mine. I say that now is the time because you see the revolution will be live and all need to thrive. So we must strive and revive through all the high fives and make sure to arrive at a place and a space filled with love and with grace. So, scholars and doctors, plant a seed. Do not concede or mislead. Indeed, proceed at full speed. Continue to lead. I know we'll succeed. Never despair. Prepare and compare. We can repair and be fair with hope and with care. We will get there. Thank you.
Amen. Woo! Charlie Rose. Where's Duncan at? We gotta let him know. We gotta let Duncan know we got some competition up in here. And so now it's my pleasure to recognize the Chancellor's Medal recipient, whom we'll hear from tomorrow when she delivers the principal address to the class of 2011. In her role as president of the American Association of State Colleges and Universities, she brings the experience of an accomplished New York public college and university administrator, scholarly interest in educational leadership, and a long-standing personal commitment to public service. as a public higher education alumna and as the first African American and first female to lead the association, she is deeply committed to advancing the tremendous promise of American higher education for all. Tomorrow, when we celebrate our university's education mission, her experiences and her reflections promise to inspire our graduates. Dr. Muriel Howard, the University of Massachusetts, Boston is especially proud to have you as our commencement speaker. On a personal note, when a young man back in 1999-2000 was looking for a mentor, and there was a group of African American college presidents who took him in Washington, D.C. He came there kicking and screaming. They took him in a room for 3 days. And they said, if you come out of this room 3 days later, then you'll know if that's what you really want to do with the rest of your life. I haven't been able to get rid of her since. Now I'm honored to serve as a member of your national board to support Ascu, but more importantly, on a personal note, I appreciate your model of leadership, your model of what a president or a chancellor should be. And so for me, there was no question that I had the right people around to sort of look to as I came through this journey. And I'm so glad that, as you told me and others told me back then, you don't have to leave Boston, even though it hadn't happened in the history of the city, to do it. You can stay right at home. And I'm so glad I stayed here, and I'm so glad I can show off this university to you. So as you go out nationally and internationally leading our association of public universities and colleges, you can tell them the story that you saw in Boston, University of Massachusetts, Boston. Now, something special is happening in the fall. The 50th year celebration of Ascu is going to be here in Boston. And we're going to be hosting and working with Dr. Howard and Ascu to do it. Incoming President Corrett is a former board member. I've sort of slipped into his place, and now we're moving forward. And so I'm so grateful. So Dr. Howard, please stand so we can acknowledge you with a round of applause. Come on up here to the microphone. Come on up here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, you know, they're very traditional in Boston, right? You know, you're not supposed to say anything till tomorrow.
I know.
But can you say something? Just say a little something.
Well, first of all, let me say how proud I am of you.
Thank you.
And how very pleased I am to work with you as I carry out the responsibilities that I have in Washington. My husband and I, Mickey, who's here with me, we sort of adopted Keith. And, you know, I enjoy mentoring, which is why I enjoy this position that I have so much. Not only am I responsible for advocating for over 420 public colleges and universities, I also am responsible for the mentoring and leadership development for those presidents and chancellors. And Keith serves on our board, and of course, Jack has worked with us for many years. So it's a real honor for me to be in this position. And I want you to know I've come from a very long way. I was born into segregation. My father had a 6th grade education. My mother completed her high school degree when I was 4 years old. But my family always believed in education and somehow figured out a way to make sure all 6 of their children were able to get through higher education. So being here at UMass Boston and understanding your mission and how many first-generation students that you support and help. And Charlie, I'm so proud of your work, and Coach, my brother is a basketball coach, so I come from a basketball family, so I've been following you for years as well. I'm just so honored to be here, and I want to thank you all for being so warm and so welcoming. This is obviously an outstanding public research university. And Keith, we're so glad you're at the helm.
The real story is whether it was in airports or whether it was at conferences, Angela, because our children were so young, could never be there. So there's a group of presidents that always let me be the third wheel, and they've allowed that. So I really have appreciated that, and they've been wonderful. Listen, I've been told that once dessert is over, it's on you, because I'm going to be gone. But but they want you to know is at 8 o'clock tomorrow starts the breakfast. I'm telling you, if you're in the stage party, if you want something to eat, you better get there early for that. If you're a guest, we're going to be taking you out from that room. Where Allie and all those for? They're eating somewhere? So come on out here. Tell me when I'm supposed to, tell me all the little facts for tomorrow morning. The provost will be on the stage telling you that you're going to be leaving at what time, Diane? 9 o'clock, we're robing up. So, it's going to be a lot of traffic on this peninsula. Remember, it's one way in and it's one way out. Okay? So, get here. There'll be parking and it'll be a great time. Thank you all for coming out this evening. Love seeing you. I also want to acknowledge the Joneses over here. Been in my life a long time. Thank you all for being here this evening as well. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.